Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands is open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we winning it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm down in the living room studio right here. Welcome one, welcome all to the Lion Villain Report. I am your host. It's your boy, Russell Wayne, in the house, broadcasting live Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. right here and broadcasting live in a multitude of spots. One is the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. Yes, we have reached 55,000 villains. Thank you to everybody that is liking, commenting, following, sharing this content, helping us reach more people on the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. I got to make a new graphic because we're going to keep on going up. We're going to keep on going up. We are broadcasting live into the YouTube page, which is at Lions Villain Squad. Thank you to everybody subscribing there, as well as the Detroit Lions News Podcast. Thank you to Joe Chap and the boys over there, and also JC Sports Network right there on YouTube. We are brought to you by, as always, NFL Shop, and we are affiliate marketing partners. And if you use the link that I am putting into the comments right now, you can save 30% off. Thank you to NFL Shop, our affiliate marketing partner here at the Villain Report. It's faith, family, and then football in that order. We use football to create memories and spend time with our family. We don't let football use us on this show. And then we have a Star's Purpose. We have a Star's Purpose right here. My wife is an advocate for autism awareness, and on her page, she is telling the story of my 5-year-old son who is autistic, but he has a rare genetic disorder, which makes him one of less than 20 people in the world. And he's being studied by the University of Michigan. And She's been sharing updates on our journey on that, as well as we are running into a lot of really good resources for parents who have children with autism. So if you comment using stars, that is the purpose for the stars. Finally, we have purpose for the stars. So welcome to the program. Let's see who's chiming in so far. Good morning from Henry Gray to the Villains. Good morning to Davey. Davey, thank you for popping on today. And Fred Peterson, our Patreon. Thank you, Fred Peterson, for being our very first Patreon. And everybody who subscribes to the YouTube channel, as you can see right there, is at Lions Villain Squad right there. Broski Bear in the house. Of course, we're going to get the Bears in the house. See, Broski is the one that reps all year long. Some of the Bear fans come in here and it's only after the wins. But Broski Bear's in here all the time. We love Broski Bear. Paul Jones, good morning and salutations. I love salutations. I got to give Paul the shout out right here. Let me get this thing up and going. I am sharing. I got to find the group. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of sorts today, but right there, because we have Paul Jones on the line right here, I want you to know that he is one of the admins to our very fine Detroit Lions group, in which you can be a part, you can comment, you can voice your concerns about the Detroit Lions, or if you're, like Broski, you can go in there and troll some of the comments. But we got some good stuff in there. And one of the things that Paul Jones does so well is keeping the spammers out, keeping all of the people out that want to try to sell you bogus tickets, wanting to try to sell you shirts. Now, there is going to be somebody trying to sell shirts in there, and it is us with our affiliate marketing partner from NFL Shop. That should be the only thing you're seeing in there. Nobody else's stuff goes in there. We're not going to let anybody sell any. I'm not going to let people spam the group with all their bull crap. It's Lions Talk. It's Lions Talk 24/7, and you can go and be invited to that group, join that group, let your voice be heard. But thank you, Paul Jones, for keeping all the riffraff out of that group. Fred Peterson says we did pretty well finishing yesterday, went 5 for 5, had to go way out 12 miles to find fish. I learned a lot myself as a newbie in salmon fishing. Lake Michigan, I learned I got to spend a lot more money. Oh, salmon for dinner last night, right? Scotty Reno in the house. Sunday can't get here fast enough. Let's frickin' go. Revenge. One pride. That's what I titled this day, this Friday, the revenge game. Put a little question mark on there. I want to talk about that here in a minute when I get done saying hello to everybody. What's up, Brian? Sheboygan's in the house. They're in All Rivers now here in Petoskey. All right. We're talking about salmon fishing today. We're delving out deep. Good morning, Villains from John. Thank you for jumping on the program, Brian Stover. And there we go. You could hit the Muskegon rivers. I love my Muskegon posse over there. I love that. But what I want to ask is this a revenge game? I mean, I know for the fans, we were all shaking our fists at the TV last year. We all wanted to complain. We wanted to be like, the referee screwed us. He reported. And, after them talking to the Lions all week, it's like, I know that maybe the revenge plays into a little bit, but I don't think it does to the players as much as it does the fans. For them, they're looking at Dallas Cowboys as a team that's in the way of us trying to get the 1 seed. So every team becomes that team that you have to beat. They preach that, I know it sounds cliche, but the next game mentality. The next game is the most important game. And you do have to remain on that. But I don't think this is as much of a revenge game to the players as it is the fans. And that's just my opinion. But let me know what you think about that. Dallas, is this a revenge game? Is this more for the fans as a revenge game? Or do you think that the players are really thinking about it? I mean, I don't know Decker. Decker's probably thinking about it a lot. Skipper. I get that part of it. But there's a lot of players that are on this team, especially back in the secondary, that didn't even play in that game last year. They don't care. Carlton Davis don't care. Amik Robertson don't care. I mean, how much of a revenge game is it? I mean, as far as being revenge. I mean, it's a very, very important NFC game. But do we put too much emphasis on, they got to get the revenge, like Rocky 2 or something? I mean, it's a game against the NFC. And I think that the referee thing gets blown out of proportion. Yeah, if they want to make up rules, it was a bad call. It was a bad call. But you still had 2 chances after that. To me, I mean, I've only been there a couple of times where I would justify crying about the referees, because we've been through so many bad referee calls. You just can't go there no more. There's no reason to. There's no reason to. Just win the next game that's in front of you, whatever. If you get screwed over, you get screwed over. But at the end of the day, you got to just keep moving forward. And, you had chances at that. The only time I don't like it is if you're making a call on the very last play of the game and you determine the outcome. That's the only time I have an issue with it. And even at that, I'll complain about it, but I just don't like that as an ending of a game. That's it. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to say that's the reason. It's like, don't put yourself in that position. Go finish the games out, execute better, leading up to that play. And, afterwards, hey, Dan, you can kick a field goal. You kick an extra point, put that game into overtime. You can, count your losses. That's the way that I feel. But I think we blow the term revenge game way out of proportion. Because these guys, it's not like, does the revenge game, does it like cue the Rocky music? We go into a training sequence because it's revenge game, right? Does it make them practice a little harder? Rising up back on the hill, but my time took my chances, and they're out there training harder. You got Brian Branch in the back, he's hitting the speed bag. He's going harder. He's going harder because he's thinking about that revenge. Do you think the train any different? Think it makes the practices any different? You think Decker's out there practicing that 2-point conversion catch one more time? He was only going to do it 12 times, but he did it 13 times because it takes more. It takes more. Here comes the revenge. You guys ready for some revenge? I don't know. I think we blow it over. We blow it out of proportion a little bit, right? I'm just pumped for the game. I'm with Fred. I'm pumped for the game. I want to see it. When we looked at those stats from the other day, and you look at this mortal Dallas Cowboy team, this is not the same team that we played last year. This is not the same team. This team is, average to below average in every phase of the game. And that's what they've been for the entire season. And the Lions have a distinct advantage up front. You know, we had an early bye week. That sucks. I hate the fact that we had an early bye week. But we did need the bye week from, from a healing perspective, because whenever you can get a guy like Frank the Tank back in the fold because you had an extra week of rest, that's okay. And you get a guy like Brian Branch, my gosh. I mean, do you think that maybe they were missing Brian Branch in the back of that secondary last week? They gave up some pass yards last week. And so yeah, the bye week came at a good time for us, and Dallas is going through it. No Dexter Lawrence. They gotta, and the thing is we ain't gonna apologize. We ain't gonna apologize. You gotta win this game though. When you get these wounded ducks, these wounded Cowboys, this is the NFL. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is undefeated right now, and he ain't been playing no good. God, if Jared Goff had Patrick Mahomes' stats right now, everybody be trying to run him out of town. They'd be trying to run Goff out of town right now. All them interceptions every game. I mean, Mahomes is not having a good year so far. But they get it done. They go out and they do it anyway. They get out and they go do it anyway. The Detroit hangover. Are the Detroit Lions hungover? That's it. And that's not even what this thing means right here. Here's what happens. The Detroit Lions hangover. The definition of the Detroit Lions hangover is the teams that play the Lions the next week after they play the Lions, they go get their ass kicked. Can somebody tell me why that is? Why do the teams the following week when they play the Lions go get their ass kicked the next week? Before we get into that question, let me get into some of these comments and kind of catch everybody up here. I want the revenge. Let's beat the Cowboys. Elise Memes in the house. What's up, girl? It's a great day to be a villain. We want to go down there and let a lot of Dallas fans leave disappointed. That's what we want. We want that. I'm really curious to see how we play. Other than Tampa Bay, we really haven't played anybody very good. That's not true. We're not going to minimize in here. Lions cornerbacks need to worry about covering the Cowgirls wide receivers. You think? Obviously, yes. We're going to have to cover wide receivers. All right. I think that the players definitely have a chip on their shoulders from the last 6 years, but especially last year. But most of those guys weren't even on the team. When you're talking about a lot of these, the ghosts of Lions past, with this team, which I think is by design, most of these players just came into the league 2021. They don't even remember. It's like even Broski won't deny that was a BS call last year. All the other belly aching Lion fans do about the officials, I don't buy. Yeah, I just think that even that play call, I'm not a fan of it, Broski. It doesn't do anything. For me personally, it's not really doing anything. It pisses me off because when you look at the whole thing in retrospect, it's like that call determined a hell of a lot more than just losing that game. I mean, because when you think of the domino effect of that, Broski, if that call was not that way and the Lions won the game, they would have gotten the 1 seed. And, when you're looking at how that playoffs, went through, that means that NFC championship would have been played in Detroit. Would that have made a difference? I don't know, but I hate how much power that the referee would have at the end of that game. Because that was closer to the end, I give Lions fans a little bit more of a pass to bellyache about that one because it was such a big call in that time. And it's like, to me, I want the referees out of the game as much as possible. When it comes to all these pass interference plays and calls on the Lions, I mean, that's fine. If that's the way that they're calling the game, is the way that they're calling the game. But I think that you ruin a good experience for fans of both teams when you let the guys be choppy a little bit and you let them get handsy in there a little bit. Some of those calls last week were good, but some of them weren't. So that's a big deal. How are they going to call this game? Because the Lions coaching staff had been on record to say, hey, listen, we don't want these guys to change the way that they're playing. We want them to still be physical, being handsy in there. They just got to check their technique a little bit, but they still want that aggressiveness in there. So how are the referees going to call this game? Are they going to call the ticky-tack stuff in this game, or are they going to let these cornerbacks and these wide receivers, have that hand fight? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I'm really curious to see how we play other than Tampa Bay. Yeah, I read that one and I'm understanding that. Gosh, I'm sorry. I am sorry. The Lions hangover thing is false. These teams are already hung over going into their games, but with the Lions get extremely lucky catching these teams with so many players out. There you go. There you go. You can't I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it to you either. I won't go there. If you want to go there, that's fine, broski. You want to minimize? These are pro players. These are professional players. 1 to 53. And actually, they were talking. I saw a video the other day of a NFL expert, whatever, talking about how it's actually an advantage with some of these players. Because if you got some dog that's playing second, third string that just hasn't gotten the opportunity yet, you have no game tape on those guys. One of the biggest assets that any NFL team has is ideas and players that don't have tape on them yet, which I think is part of the big reason that some of the players don't play in preseason, is because that tape and how you do your job is so valuable. It's so valuable when you get guys that you can do that with. And in every game, broski, there are guys that are injured. There are guys that are injured in every single game. The Bears have played injured teams week after week after week because that's what happens in the NFL is teams get injured. What people love to do is overblow how big injuries are. What do you do with the injury? Can you overcome? Tell Patrick Mahomes. They've been injured all year long. That dude just wins anyway. Best receiver gone, whatever. It's not that's an excuse. That's an excuse. I mean, what would you say if the Lions lost to one of those teams? For example, Parsons and Lawrence out this week. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. But there is a next man up in that situation, and they're going to put a player there. And if you have an advantage in the injury spot, what do you expect them to do? You expect them to get mad? Oh my God. You got to play the team that they put out there in front of you. Last week, Brian Branch was out in the back of the secondary. Lions gave up some points to the secondary. Do you think I'm back over here crying? Oh, yeah. But it's because Brian Branch was out. You know, they had injuries in the middle of their defensive line last week too. We had Frank Ragnow out. We had to take a guard and make him a center and then bring a backup in. So it affected 2 players with the Frank Ragnow injury. You hear me crying? You hear me crying? You know, if the Lions would have lost that game to Seattle, I wouldn't be here crying about the injuries. So I'm not going to let you get away with that weak argument of you're playing an NFL team. You're beating an NFL team. You have no idea how good your next man up is. I mean, what happens if part of your defensive line gets injured for the Bears, right? What are you going to say? Next man up. Yeah, the Lions have Davenport, Barnes, Kaminsky, Ifatu Melifanu. Got a lot of players out. Next man up. You don't hear us crying about it. Why are we crying about injuries all the time? Lions counting on draft and develop method. This is the reason that I'm not worried about it, broski. Because the next man up mentality is when given opportunities, the next man up, they play well. The reason they're not going to go out and sign a free agent linebacker right now is because the next man up is playing well. Aaron Glenn spoke to the media yesterday. He said he has all the confidence in the world. You know, Derek Barnes is out, next man up. Said they got 5 linebackers that can play that position. We're deep. Is your team deep? Or do you use it as an excuse like Broski does? Because if Dallas doesn't have a guy behind Parsons that can rush the passer, then shame on you. Get some depth. Get some depth. Marcus Davenport got injured for the season again. You know, that's something that you actually predicted, broski. Davenport ain't going to last throughout the years. Okay, cool. We got it. We need some depth. We need some guys to step up. And in that picture, you got Levi Onwuzurike and Josh Paschal. Josh Paschal played 55 snaps last week and had the best game of his NFL career. And given the opportunity, guess what? He's a third-year player. And guess what we've been saying? What Brad Holmes does, this is why he doesn't go out and spend the big money in free agency. That's why he takes chances on guys, doesn't pay him as much money because of, you know, injury risk or other things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the bulk of your team is built on the draft and develop method. Levi Onwuzurike, he's a late developer, but he had to battle the injury. And by the way, kudos to Levi Onwuzurike. I'm so glad those guys were right about him. He's affecting the game. He's a plus player. He's got a sack and a half from the interior. And that's what we want from him. We don't even need him to be a starter. Levi Onwuzurike. We love that you come in off the bench after Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader now. That's called depth. That's depth. Josh Paschal, you're going to get your shot. We've got another guy on the practice squad by the name of Ukuwu. And if Josh Paschal don't do it, they're going to bring up another guy that's been practicing within the system, that has been developing in the system. Now, you may not like this method. You may say, oh, no, but I want to go out and trade my draft picks for Max Crosby. I want to go out and trade draft capital to have a guy that's came in that's never played with my team before. I mean, what you're seeing right now is the fruits of labor for Brad Holmes when it comes to this draft and development guy. This is why when I see all these trade rumors and, oh, let's go out and get this other guy, it's like I laugh at it. I laugh at it because I don't think they're going to do it. And this isn't my opinion. This is just like, this is kind of like what I'm observing here from our regime. I mean, he doesn't give you evidence of that, does he? He doesn't give you evidence that he's going to go out and trade some draft capital to bring in an unknown commodity. I mean, as good as Crosby is, he would come in. He's never played in this system before. I'm sure that he would be awesome. And be a terror. We would be an instant Super Bowl contender. You know, a Super Bowl favorite if they brought Max Crosby in to be on the other side of Hutchinson with this defense. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say Josh Pascal is going to be as good as no. Max Crosby. No. What I'm saying is Brad Holmes, his superpower, and this is something that Broski can't even deny, is Brad Holmes can draft. He can draft. So why would you use the capital and the ammunition that puts quarters into the slot that lets you do the thing that you do the best, which is draft players that fit what we do? Why would we trade? Why would we trade that capital? You know, it's going to cost ones and twos, day ones and day two picks to bring in those high quality players that you want. And then you got to pay them. I think this man has a plan, and it always was drafting and developing. You know, you want him to go out and get L'Jarius Sneed because he's the best cornerback, and then they draft cornerbacks. You know, then they bring in these other guys that you're like, okay, well, maybe that guy's okay, and then they end up being fine. They end up being quality players, and they didn't have to spend as much money. You're drafting and developing these players. Your best players now are players that Brad Holmes drafted. 5 Pro Bowl players, I might add, and it's probably going to be a lot more this year. So to me, it's like the worst thing that can happen to a team is when your team has a superpower and you don't let him do what he does best. And it's Brad Dollar Store Holmes, and I get that. That it's like you can criticize the way that he goes after free agents, you know, and that's fair. He ain't going after the big guy. He ain't ever gonna. That's never gonna be his style. He's always gonna be free agency style, broski. I don't think he's gonna change, not one bit. When he goes, he's dollar store, be home, Brad Holmes. You know why? Because he's saving up his money. He's dollar store Brad Holmes because he's got a retirement account. He's dollar store Brad Holmes because he's saving his money and he ain't going out and buying a Lamborghini. He's dollar store Brad Holmes because sometimes you can strike lightning in a bottle. Oh, how did that work for Mosley in Davenport? It didn't. But so far, it's worked for DJ Reader. So, you know, that's the free agency thing. But the one statement that he makes, because he is dollar store Brad Holmes, and I like this, broski. I'm good with that. I'm good with you calling him dollar store Brad Holmes because that's what he is as a free agency signer. But But dollar store Brad Holmes has a retirement account and he drafts well. He picks well. He picks better than any GM in the NFL by a mile right now. It isn't even close. There isn't even a close second right now to somebody that's bringing in Pro Bowl players, that's drafting Pro Bowl players in every round. I mean, you're usually talking about a lot of misses. When your GM is batting 500, like Ryan Poles is, he's a great GM. I love what Ryan Poles has done. This dude, if you're a Chicago fan, you should love what Ryan Poles has done. But he ain't batting like Brad is. Not in the draft, he ain't. Brad Holmes is in a league of his own. And yeah, he's dollar store Brad Holmes. You ain't going to see him go in and do the free agency stuff. You're not going to see him go in there and sign that gigantic person. Mosley and Kaminsky are able to come back around Thanksgiving. Interesting. David says that we've been stopping the run without him, and Holmes just got us here. He'll get us through. Dollars in the bank for rainy days. Yeah, and that money can turn over. That's the other thing, too. It's like we want to pay our own guys. And Broski says mentioning Mosley is as bad as mentioning Davenport. LOL. It's amazing. Yeah, those are from the free agency, dollar store Brad. You know, these guys are talented players. But Davenport ended up being what we thought he was. You know, he's a good player. When he's out there, he's a plus player. When he's out there. So, you know, those are swings and misses from the free agency side, but they're not missing on the draft side. So spend that money this year, then cost one or two re-signings next season, and the money we roll over to help keep the guys that Brad Holmes drafts. So that money will be able to roll over, and we will be able to keep other guys. I don't want to see them sign not one person from this. I'm rolling with some guys that, you know, the rest of the world doesn't necessarily know about. But I believe in the practice squad. I believe in the guys that are the backup and the depth pieces, that they know the defense and that they're going to be able to do it better than somebody from the outside, barring a guy like, you know, Crosby or somebody that it pushes it over the edge. But how much better are you going to be? You know, that's the question that you got to ask if you're going to spend any money. Brad can draft. Our coaches can develop. Frank, Decker, and Goff are top players too. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And those are the guys I just kept. They kept around. If Holmes nails the draft next year, he's in an elite group. He's already in an elite group. Jeremy says that Bears talk crap like 1985 was yesterday. Facts of the matter, Bears have been in the NFC North basement more times than our Lions. I don't know about that. We were pretty bad. Corey. Yeah, and Crosby personally said on his pod, yeah, it's all smoke. All of that stuff is smoke. But we got to talk about it because it's out there. And I address all the trade rumors and, you know, us going to get outside people to come in and help this. They're just not going to do that. That's just not the way that we're built. Like I said, would I like them to go out and pursue things like that if it was even available? To Jeremy's point, what they do is they corner these guys when they talk to them, and they try to get them to say these things, and sometimes they bite on that nugget, and so one time Crosby says, if I wanted to go anywhere and play, I'd play in Detroit, if he was a free agent. So that's what gets blown way out of proportion. They never put him on the trade block. It was never realistic. I'm liking Patrick too. Well, Jeremy, I'm just going to let you handle Broski in the comments. You guys can argue with each other. You guys are funny. So what we've been talking about today, this is the Lion Villain Report. Dallas revenge game? Lions Villain Report is Monday through Saturday. I am your host, Russell Wayne, with you at 10 a.m. And we're talking football. And we appreciate anybody that's liking, subscribing, sharing, helping this content in any way. Because when you hit that like button, please hit that like button. Can you do that? Can you hit the like button? Because we would sure like that. We would like that. We'd like that. Because that helps the algorithm. It's like, I'll give you an example of why you shouldn't hit the like button. Don't hit the like button if you were looking for a crocheting or knitting website and you stumbled upon this podcast and you hear a bunch of guys talking about football. You don't have to hit the like button. You can just leave and go find your knitting Facebook page that you were looking for instead. So you don't have to hit the like button. That's one example. But if you like football content, especially if your favorite team resides in the NFC North, then you should definitely hit that like button. Because the Lions Villain Squad and the Villain Report, we're the UDFAs of football podcasting. We're the grinders. We're the ones that are up. We'll just outwork everybody. Everybody else can have, big mega sponsors and be all corporate. Not us. Mike, myself, Elise, Paul, Jeff, Jeremy, all the villains. We just grind it. We out here grinding. We out here working hard. And we're going to keep on working hard until somebody notices. And somebody can notice. And, and we'll continue to call ourselves the UDFA. And you can join me every morning at 10 a.m. And we're brought to you by NFL Shop. Fueled by NFL Shop. You can use that QR code or the link that's in the comments right now and get 30% off of that beautiful Jahmyr Gibbs number 26 black and blueberry colored jersey. Those things are sweet. I can't wait to get one of those. So thank you. But so they had David Montgomery was on a podcast and he said the nickname that they're going with, and it seems like they're going to be is Sonic and Knuckles. We got any video gamers out there? You like this? What do you think of that? Sonic and Knuckles. I mean, if you're a video gamer and you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, you probably think this is the coolest name ever. I'm not big into the video games, but anymore. But I don't mind that. I mean, if they like it, I don't mind that. Lori, thank you for the comment. Decker reported. Yes, let's go Lions. Oh my gosh. Patrick and Readers were some great free agents. I love it. I love it. That's what Broski loves to talk. Broski with the Moski. What he doesn't have the Moski of is the good side of his bad talk. Like, he only wants to talk about the things that Devin Poop, Mosley. He doesn't want to talk about the depth that stepped up and the guys that are learning behind them. Oh, you don't want to talk about Tim Patrick, who came in and has been just a fine ex-receiver since he's been working in. He wants to talk about Allen Robinson like he's like some ancient guy that'll never have an impact on a team. But yet he's on that field impacting the team by showing some stuff to Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. He only wants to talk about the negative side. There is a positive side to him going out and grabbing players that have an injury history. Yeah, and you get it. That's dollar store. Dollar store. That's where Brad Holmes shopping. That's because he's saving up. He's using that compound interest. All my banking people, holla at me. All my banking people, compound interest. Yeah, Derek Barnes is a bust. Ifatu Melifanu, he's a bust. After 1 year, I love it. I love that the haters. I remember. I kept the receipts. Aleem McNeil. Oh, he's just average. They used a 3rd-round pick on him. We need to really look at Brad Holmes and the way he's drafting. I remember. I kept the receipts. I don't know if they keep the receipts, but I kept the receipts. And here's these guys that bust out in their 3rd year, drafting and developing. The Lions counting on it. Why won't they go out and spend a bunch of money to get some free agents? They need to trade for a stud player. Stop it. And every single time, draft and develop, it is what stepped in. Did you really think it was going to be Romeo Okwara? We need to get a pass rusher opposite of Hutchinson. You're right. But I'll tell you what, right now, Josh Pascal is better than Charles Harris and Romeo Okwara. So, I mean, I can give the team credit for the increments that it's gotten better, right? The first 3 years, they were building the core and the foundation of the team. This year and next year, I look at the team in a completely different way. I don't know how he's going to handle it because he's never been here before, but the bulk of the team is here. Like, there's not going to be much movement on the 53-man roster with a lot of the guys they got, signed through next year that are already under contract. I mean, it blows my mind really to think about it because they're going to have a bunch of money, but they're not going to have a lot of room on the team. So when people tell me, they wasted a 3rd-round pick because they needed to get these developmental guys, well, they need developmental guys. I mean, there's guys that are proven that are on the team that probably won't be going anywhere. And this is something I've been bringing up, and it just, you're looking at next year's team in 2025. You got, Jared Goff's under contract. You got, Decker, Ragnow, Hutch, Panay, Anzalone still here. Montgomery still here. Reader still here. Amon-Ra, Jameson, Carlton. Well, Carlton Davis probably won't be here. There's one. But you drafted 2 cornerbacks. You figure through the year. I mean, when you talk about a guy that plans for the years, and Jahmyr Gibbs, Fox, Marcus Davenport won't be here. But Campbell still be here, Raymond still be here, Meek Robertson still be here, Reeves Maben here, Glasgow here, Arnold here, Laporta's here, Pascal's here, Branch is here, Brock Wright's here, Kirby Joseph here, Hendon Hooker still here, Rodri. I mean, the whole damn team's here. 2025. There's already no room on the team. Maybe even drafted players are going to have a hard time making this team. That's kind of crazy to think about. The Lions, I don't know, as long as I've been watching the Lions, I haven't seen anything like this to where there's just not a ton of room. They're gonna go as far as they're gonna go. Maybe the Lions win the Super Bowl this year. Maybe they can finally do it, but they got a team that can do it. And as good as the rest of the NFC North is, and I'll give them all the credit in the world. I was talking yesterday that this was the best division in football by a mile. And it's not like it's going to get worse, because I believe in development of players, right? I believe that Caleb Williams is going to get better throughout the season. I believe that defense is legit in Chicago. And Minnesota, it's the same thing. The perceived weakness was the outside secondary, and that Minnesota defense is legit. They got that entire defense is bought into the way that they do things, and maybe they get exposed and it doesn't end up being like that. It's okay for you to have that opinion. But the Green Bay Packers got one of the youngest rosters in the NFL. You think that's going to get worse? LaFleur's a good coach. But here's the Lions. And I believe in the progression thing, and I believe in it more for the Lions than any of these teams. I believe that you're looking at 4 top 10 teams in the NFL. The Packers, Lions, Minnesota, maybe Chicago. I'll put the maybe on Chicago yet because they did play the Carolina Panthers, but I'm not going to minimize. That was an NFL defense, and Caleb's getting better. And that defense is legit. That defense is going to keep them in any game. Chicago, so I put Chicago in that list too. You could be looking at 2 or 4 top 10 teams. Lions are still the best team. I'm not scared. I'm not one of those teams. Because of the way the Lions are built, they'll be able to match any of those teams. And we're going to find out in a week, but we're worried about Chicago right now, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because we're in that preview spot. I think the Lions have an opportunity to get a really, really big win. Really, really big win right here. And they need it. They need this win. But the Lions are a great team. And as good as these other teams are, that's fine. You can be good. But I think that there's 4 top 10 teams in the NFL that are in there. So here's the thing. Is we're going to have to play each other. If you are who you say you are, and we are who we say you are, we're going to be playing 3 times. We're going to be playing 3 times because if you're a top 10 team in the NFL, you only need to be a top 14 team to make the playoffs. And I think there's a possibility you could see all 4 of these teams make it to the playoffs. Vikings and the Bears have a better roster. Wait, Vikings and Bears have a better roster than the Bears. Bears are much deeper than the Lions, and that's not true. That's not true. This is where I'm gonna push way against that, because you are not giving the Lions enough respect if you just think that you're a deeper roster already. It's not, and the Lions have been building that roster for 3 years. So you're counting on guys that are brand new, that haven't been in your system right off the bat. So the best that you could possibly say is you are as deep as the Lions, because the Lions are deep at every position. And they've already had that. They've already proven that this year. They haven't even played their best game and they're 3-1. So, I mean, you can talk all the smack that you want to talk right now, but you counted your team as a 7-win team. And, you know, if you want to come in here and puff your chest and change it now, that's fine. That's fine. But I haven't changed my position. I haven't changed my position on here, but it seems to me like you're changing your position. After the Lions beat you up, the stats show teams lose the following week also. And that's because these teams are trying very hard to beat the Lions, because it's something to beat the Lions this year. And don't worry about Broski. He's just in here. He's trying to fire everybody up. It's no big deal. He wants to come in here and make everybody mad. But did I see anybody that commented even on the Sonic and Knuckles? Mark says that the Lions will target Laporta and Patrick more this game. St. Brown will be double teamed most of the time. Well, that's choose your poison, because that's what's happening with the Lions right now with the offense, is we're putting people into trick bags. Say Pascal isn't better than Charles Harris yet, better than Okwara. I'll give you that. Yeah, whatever. I mean, what are we talking about here, Jeremy? I mean, you're talking about players that don't look like a bump on a pickle out there. And Pascal's already better than that. And I know that you've pushed against me on the Pascal thing. You want that to be right so much. And if Pascal's good, you're going to have to eat that crow again, like you had to eat that crow for bets. But, you know, I'm hoping that Pascal puts it out there, you know, and does well. Oh my gosh. It turns out it's like I'm trying to involve the crowd, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and and finish out the show with just me talking out. Differentiate. Corey says that Pascal has to be more consistent. Pascal needs to be more played before he can be more consistent. Now, I was talking with John Macaroon the other night with Ted the trainer on Darcy's show, and I brought this up, and there's something to be said about being able to get the opportunity and get into a rhythm. Pascal hasn't had that opportunity with the Lions yet. And last week was the first time that he had really been given any type of opportunity. And forgive me, I'm coming through to bring up the stats again. I'm going into my PFF to bring that out again, because whenever somebody brings it up, I want to be able to to show you the metrics on it. And I know that the BFF isn't the end all be all. So I want to preface it by saying that, but I want to show you something here. So yeah, I get it. You guys are ganging up on me. I can't believe it. Like this is what I love about Lion fans, and this is where I'm gonna call bull crap on Broski, where he talks about how homeristic Lion fans are. Most Lion fans are not homeristic. Most Lion fans are so stat driven and like this. We criticize our own team. What we're doing right now, Broski, is I'm about ready to bring up some metrics because we can't get people to stop shitting on players on our own team. You ain't doing that. You ain't going after your players like that. And you call us out for being homers to our team. And really, the worst critics of the Lions team are Lions fans. Give me a thumbs up if you're a Lion fan and you can relate to Lion fans being more critical of the team than any other fan base. But here's what I want. This is what I want to bring up right here. And this is just, it comes to opportunity. When you say that he isn't consistent, that's fine. But 22 snaps, 13 snaps, and 18 snaps mixed in a bag of half pass rush. I mean, so little of snaps that he doesn't even get a chance to register a tackle, right? So we're criticizing him for not having an opportunity to tackle. I mean, that's it. You know? And then in the very first game, where they actually give him some snaps, 53 snaps, he has a pretty good game. Got 2 hurries, 3 tackles. So, to your point here, when he's out there, sometimes you don't know that he's out there. What you're bringing up right there might actually be a compliment. So sometimes not being noticed, like offensive linemen, like the only time you ever hear an offensive lineman's name is when he has a holding call. The only time, sometimes when you got a defensive end that's just doing his job, setting the edge. That's a good thing, you know, sometimes. So, holy crap, Russell. Holy crap, Russell. One game doesn't do an entire season of stats. He's too inconsistent. So, holy crap, Jeremy. I'm bringing up a point here that makes sense. You don't have enough snaps to show any type of consistency. And all I'm doing is pointing out that the very first game that they gave him significant snaps was the best game that he has played. And it falls right into the topic that I've been bringing up about drafting and developing players. This right here is why they're not going out and getting named players and wasting valuable draft capital when they got players on the roster that can do the job. Broski says you can pull up the metrics about Houston and Davin Hoop too, but what's that really mean? What are we really talking about? Well, Broski doesn't pay attention, but like Broski, like I swear he's standing in the mirror right now, and this is Broski, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell those guys on that Lions podcast that they ain't no good. I'm not going to listen to any of the commentary. I'm not going to actually try to follow along with the topics, but those guys are bad, and I'm going to let them know about it. Are you even listening to me? Why would I pull metrics on Houston and Davenport? Davenport is injured. We're talking about the replacement for Davenport. Follow along with us. I'm like, I love that I can actually have an intelligent conversation with Jeremy. Jeremy's at least following along and disagreeing with me. Like I think I'm being pretty straightforward. Now, let's go into Broski's comment here. How come I didn't mention Houston and Davenport? Well, Davenport's injured, so the entire premise of the show is talking about next man up and how we replace the players known as Davenport. And Houston's a non-factor. He hasn't been right since his injury came back. He's played in like 20 snaps all season. There's 3 defensive linemen that are in front of him. Now, I understand that you only watch Bears stuff, and then you come up with Lions stuff that you look up like one article and then bring it out. But I understand. So I'm not going to bring up any metrics on Davenport or Houston, because neither one of them are probably going to play for the Lions for the rest of the season. All right. I guess I don't see what you see, because I go by what I see by watching the game. Okay. I don't know if that's an insinuation that I don't watch the game, but I'm just bringing up data so there's something to be shown while I'm talking about it. Now, and I don't know if I came on here and said that Pascal was the end-all be-all. But for you to say that he's inconsistent when he hasn't had a chance to be consistent, if you think 18 snaps a game is enough, if you think that 18 snaps is enough to show consistency, Russ, how do you guess I'm looking the man in the mirror? I guess I really like what I see. You're trying to project a limited sample, produced metrics that don't mean anything. Okay, well, I guess you don't have to watch the show. All right, that's cool by me. I went over for everybody, but I guess if you just refuse to see what I see, that's fine. That's fine. You can have your opinion. I'm just trying to offer a different point of view, or try to show you why Brad Holmes is doing what he is doing. This isn't even really my opinion. I'm just showing metrics. And, as a fan, I want to believe in Josh Pascal. And I am pointing out that Pascal was given more snaps than he's ever been given in the last 3 years. And he produced in the last game that he played. So I'm saying that you're looking in the man in the mirror because you're trying to rile everybody up in the comments, and you've done that again. So you can be proud of that, but I'm going to conclude my show right here, and I'm not going to do any extra anymore. But this is the Lion Villain Report. We're broadcasting live every day, Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. You can follow us on the Facebook page. The Facebook page has reached 55,000 strong right there. Thank you for the people that like. I mean, I guess I like in this show, everybody that hates me too. I enjoy the haters just as much, even when they're on my own team. But thank you for the people that follow the page. Thank you for the people that subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is at Lions Villain Squad. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to Joe Chap and the boys over at the Detroit Lions News Podcast and JC Sports Network. And we are brought to you always by NFL Shop, fueled by NFL Shop, our affiliate marketing partners right there. Use the link or the QR code. Save yourself 30% on them slick looking black jerseys right here. Facebook Stars, follow our Facebook Stars program right here is going to support my wife's page. She's an advocate for autism awareness, and she is sharing resources for parents that have children with special needs, as well as the journey of my 5-year-old son, who is right there, who has a rare genetic disorder called Jared 2, and the University of Michigan is doing a study and teaching us a whole bunch, showing us some different things right there. So any of the comments that you use for the Stars purpose right there, go to support my wife's page, and I appreciate you guys for that. It's faith, family, and then football, in that order. That way I can still like Broski, even though he riles me up. I can like Jeremy, even though he's riling me up in this on this episode. We use football. We use football to spend time with our family, to create memories. We don't let football use us, because we weren't going to do that. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again for Lion Villain Report. Peace out.
Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet.
Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple.
Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy.
Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.